Hello, everybody. Well, my name's Oliver Wars, and welcome to another video. Usually, I would be doing a championship reaction review video, whatever you'd like to call it. But today, I'm looking from the comments I got from a mate of mine. We're going to change it up a bit. We're going to do a little podcast of racism and then VAR. So we're going to start off with the racism today. I've got a mate with me called Matt
Hello.
Stevens.
Hello, lads.
Matt Stevens, who is this topic that we're doing of racism, he has a lot to say.
Well, guess so.
He has more than me to say about this topic of racism. So racism has been a big part of football in the last couple of months, as you can tell, with everything that's going on.
Particularly on social media. That's a big play. That's a big factor.
And we're just going to talk about why it's got out of hand so much in the past couple of months in football. So we're going to start off with, in my opinion, it all started from when England played Bulgaria in an international friendly.
That was an interesting game. I remember witnessing that racism. Like, I was watching the game and I was just hearing the racism in the crowd. I was like, oh, this is stupid. Like why? Like, what do you get from just abusing our players?
Who was it at again? Rashford, Sterling?
Mainly at Sterling.
Yeah.
But it was basically at all our black players, to be fair. Because a lot of the England team are black, but that's just the world we live in, because people come from different backgrounds, which is I
believe this match was this before the start of the season, or it was just or in between?
It was
the start of the season.
It was last month, wasn't it?
It was somewhere around there anyway, because it started to come in. It started to get bigger and bigger through everyone on social media, even at the games.
It was mainly at the games.
Obviously, I've heard stuff at the game. Obviously, being at Reading myself, I've heard a lot of stuff being at a football stadium. It's not nice to do it. Not nice to do it at all. It's wrong, and people deserve to get banned or whatever. But it's obviously what the EFL and the FA think of the situation or whatever's being done with it.
Alright, so the England-Bulgaria game, it was at the time of recording, which is the 5th of November, it was on the 15th of October. So it was just about a month ago.
Just a month ago, just after the season started. Okay, and we're gonna talk about this because Matt and me have a few ideas. I wouldn't say ideas, but things we want
to talk about.
Yeah, racism that's happened over the last couple of months. I mean, I'm going to start off with one, and then Matt's going to carry on and talk about his. So I'm going to start off with one, which was gathered over social media, and that was at a Reading game. I'm sure Matt's heard of this. After Yakou Meite missed that penalty.
Oh yes. Against Cardiff.
The penalty he missed against Cardiff. Obviously, we won that. We went in to win that game 3-0, which was a big result for us.
Was it our first win of the season?
It was our first win of the season after losing the first two. It was a big result for us. We are all happy. We're all happy, especially the players were happy with the win.
It was a great win.
It was a great win. And obviously, come 90th minute, we had a penalty. Meite took it. Obviously, their goalkeeper saved it. And then we're all celebrating. And then just when you thought it was happy, it turns out that some guy who supported Reading, would go and say something to Meite over Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter seems to be the primary place where racism occurs. If you go on, I'm sure there's loads of examples like on Facebook and stuff, but because I dominantly use Twitter, that's the main social media I use. That's where I see it. But like, I'm not saying. But what I'm saying is that it obviously it happens on every social media because it's just humans these days. But the thing is about social media is that it's so easy to take advantage of it. Like you can say something and have no repercussions because you can be anonymous. Just have a picture of a footballer as your AVI, and then you could tweet something at someone, say basically anything you want, and Twitter won't do anything about it because they don't know who you are. Like you're anonymous. You could just create a fake email, fake account. You can say what you want, and it will obviously impact the players. Like do you follow Sterling on Twitter?
I do follow Sterling on Twitter, yes.
He does. Like, some of his tweets are really funny. Because after the England-Bulgaria game, Sterling obviously tweeted out against the whole thing, which I completely agree with. Like,
yeah,
it had to be spoken out about.
Like,
obviously, TV gave the whole situation a lot of attention. Sorry if I'm speaking of you, but yeah, TV gave it a lot of attention. Because, obviously during the game, like the commentators were pointing out the whole racism and stuff, which, fair play to them because, they pointed it out.
Yeah.
Some people could have just ignored it.
I mean, yeah, some people could have ignored it, but then again, something has to be dealt with it. Like going back to the Mate situation, we won that game 3-0, missed the penalty. Okay, fair enough. We would have liked the fourth. We won that game. The person that tweeted him out on social media didn't have to say that.
No.
Understandable, if we lost the game, you would be mad.
Yeah, but it's still not. Even if we lost the game, he shouldn't have said it. Like, no matter if we won or lost, he shouldn't have said it either way. There's no excuse for that type of behaviour.
And going back to what you said just a moment ago about pictures on Instagram and that lot, obviously that thing in the stadium with Divock Origi.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, it can be seen as racist, but on the other hand, it's a joke.
I think it's a joke, but
they did cross the line a little bit. Like, I can understand why Liverpool, got told off for it, but at the same time, it is a joke. But I wouldn't call it more racism because it's a racial stereotype at the end of the day. Like, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but people know what we're on about. It's a racial stereotype. But it was a joke, but it was inappropriate because they're obviously chill. Like, imagine you're a child, like let's say like 8 or something, and you watch it. You're a Liverpool fan, and you're gonna watch the game again. Was it Genk or was it Strasbourg?
Genk.
Okay, it was Genk, and you're watching it at home. Sat on the sofa watching Champions League, and you see that photo, and you're just like, oh, okay, like what's that? Like, it is very inappropriate, and considering the fact that there are a lot of children who watch football, like us included. Like we're not children, but we watched football when we were children.
Yeah. Never mind that situation where that is very inappropriate and that should have been dealt with. But
in my opinion, it's not racism. I don't think it's racism. It's a racial stereotype, but it's not blatant racism.
We're now going to move on to something which is more important for me. It's more important with an FA Cup round tie qualifier between Yeovil Town and Harrogate Borough. After one of the Yeovil supporters was shouting racism, spitting and throwing bottles at the goalkeeper.
And the keeper was black, right?
Yeah, the goalkeeper was black. Yeah. What I didn't understand about that, something should have been done with it, but obviously Harrogate Borough, they walked off the pitch because of it, and the FA are thinking about whether to chuck them out of the FA Cup.
Which they should do. Wait. No, they shouldn't. They should chuck Yeovil out. They should chuck Yeovil out.
The FA want to chuck Harrogate Borough out of the FA Cup, not Yeovil.
But they should chuck Yeovil out.
Which I hate that because Harrogate Borough walked off, the goalkeeper walked off because he was right to after what happened to him. But I don't see why Yeovil would get any sympathy of going into the next round of the FA Cup after what they did.
Well, we also need to remember it wasn't every Yeovil fan. It was a particular group or individual who did it. So there's another argument of, do you punish the individual or the whole club? Because like, why would you punish the whole club when it was just an individual, if you get what I mean? Because that's just harsh on the club.
Yeah.
But then again, did they know who it was? Did they like ID the person? Did they know who it was?
I don't think they knew who it was, and I don't think they found out yet who it actually was.
Because if they knew who it was, they could just easily ban them from future Yeovil games. But then that comes into another argument that they can just go to another team and do the same thing. And yeah. The whole Yeovil thing is very interesting. I had a mate on my uni course who works at Yeovil. He's actually employed there full time now, which is, you know, pretty sick. And he does performance analysis, so he analyzes the performance of the players. And obviously Yeovil are doing quite well in the National League, but he went to the game to do his analysis, and he experienced the thing firsthand. I didn't talk about it too much to him, but he did mention that, like, that person who was a Yeovil fan, like, it disgusted him. He was just like, it shouldn't be in the sport, and that's completely agreeable.
I just found it even worse. Obviously, the racism, that's the worst. Obviously, one of the worst things about it. But also getting spat at and bottles thrown at him as well.
That's just full-on abuse.
That's going even further than it should be.
Like, there's crossing the line, and then there's very much crossing the line.
Yeah.
Like, racism, that crosses the line, but then doing that as well as the racism, that's just crossed the line completely. Like, you're like on the other side of the line at this point.
So let's gather this up. What would you like to see happen in the FA Cup? Do you think Yeovil should be kicked out of the FA Cup or Harrogate Borough?
Okay. This is my personal opinion. I don't want to be attacked for this, but none of them should be. Okay, none of them, because it was a particular Yeovil fan or individual. You can't ban the whole club for an act of one individual. So what should happen? I doubt this will happen, but they should replay each other behind closed doors. That's what should happen, but it probably won't happen.
So that would be understandable behind closed doors. So nothing occurs.
So no fans can watch it, which is a bit harsh on the fans. But then again, it would also teach them, like, you know, that racism cannot be tolerated.
What they shouldn't do, which is fair enough. They should do that. In my opinion, I think that they say that they want Harrogate Borough kicked out more than Yeovil because obviously walking off the pitch.
Yeah, but they have the right to do that.
Which you're saying they have the right to do that because, you know,
that's what happened in the England game.
Upsetting with the goalkeeper.
Like, you can't. Obviously, we're not from minority backgrounds, so we don't get abused too much. So, like, but if you put yourself in the shoes of a black goalkeeper playing in an FA Cup game, you know, it's quite a big moment playing in the FA Cup. It's a very historical competition. It's probably the best English cup competition, probably one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
But then some fan is just ruining it for you, blatantly, you know, shouting racist stuff at you while chucking, didn't you say bottles and
bottles? Yeah, spitting, yeah.
Spat at him. And, like, I can't imagine. Like, I would walk off the pitch as well. Like, because you can't play with that much abuse. Like, yeah, you can play. I mean, yeah, footballers get abused every day. Because that's just the world we live in. But it's difficult to explain. I'm just saying, if I was in his shoes, I would have walked off because I can't tolerate that. I mean, I don't know what it's like, but I would think I wouldn't be able to tolerate it. What about you? If you were in the shoes of that goalkeeper, would have you done the same thing?
I would have done the same thing. I wouldn't take any of it. I would literally just walked off. And like the manager said, the Harrogate Borough manager, he said if he gets kicked out of the FA Cup, he's like, so what? He's more safe. He's more worried about his players' safety than anything else. Which he had.
Exactly.
Had his right opinion to say that. And speaking of black racism and walking off the pitch, we then move on to what happened. I think it was yesterday with
4th of November.
Yeah, with Balotelli against Hellas Verona. 54 minutes played. I think he got suspended in after Balotelli heard some racism and walked off the pitch.
I don't know too much about this story because I haven't done too much research into it. But again, it's similar to the other situation. If you're getting abuse and you're at a point where you can't tolerate it, you should just be able to have the right to walk off the pitch.
Yeah, I was going to say I read something into this morning, and it was on Sky Sports News. The guy that actually was racism for Balotelli actually got banned. He got banned for 11 years from going to see Hellas Verona play football.
But is that long enough?
Is
11 years long enough? Was it 11 months or years?
11 years.
Is that long enough?
Is 11 years long enough to ban Hellas Verona fan until like 2030 or something?